The early versions of the synchronous software were tested with a number of marketing clients at promotional events. Each participant would be given an iPod Touch. Felipe and his co-founder had developed several different software titles to run on these devices, and it varied depending on the event.
At the beginning, it was either application standalone, like a spinning wheel, a trivia game, sort of silly interactions for events, and these sort of synchronous presentation experience.
But given their focus on interactive software and e-learning in their work at Panarea Digital, Felipe and Guido thought about creating a version of Nearpod for educators. In this 2015 interview with Missy Elmer from modernlearners.com, Guido explains a little bit more.
We got so excited about the potential of interactive learning and the potential of technology in the learning process that we were hooked. We wanted to do stuff for ourselves, not for others. So we were looking for an opportunity, and then the iPad came in.
Like Guido just said, the iPad and other devices making their way into the classroom were a big factor in their decision. Stephen W. Anderson is the founder of Web20Classroom.com and a digital learning evangelist. In his previous career as Director of Instructional Technology, his district initially struggled to get devices into the hands of students.
My board wasn't yet willing to invest the amount of money it was going to require for us to go one-to-one, because we had 86 schools and 65,000 students, and that would have been a tremendous financial burden for the district. And so we were looking at bring your own device.
Many districts found themselves in the same position as Stevens, but the introduction of lower-cost devices like the iPad or Chromebooks would make it easier for schools to purchase devices for students.
When technology is first introduced, it's very expensive, and then as time goes by, the cost of ownership really starts to decline, and that's especially what we've seen with student personal devices. So now we're at a point in time where a district can make an investment in a device for less than $100 a student in some cases, and provide that technology to every student.
Back in 2010, Guido saw this increased number of devices in schools as a huge opportunity.
We were lucky to be based in Florida, and there were a few private schools that were able to afford thousands of iPads kind of the day they were launched. And we were among the few EdTech startups working in the space, so we were lucky enough to work with those guys, and we would go over and over, and they didn't have any meaningful usages for those devices, which were amazing in the classroom. So we said, we saw the potential. We said, wait a minute, there's a really interesting use case here. If every student will be connected to a device during class, then instruction is going to change forever. And this seems to be a very valuable mission of a project to work on.
And so an early version of Nearpod was created specifically for a classroom teacher. Guido explains a little bit more.
Nearpod is kind of a combination of a PowerPoint, a student response system, and some of the best features of the interactive whiteboard. We've put all of that together in one easy-to-use app. So as a teacher, you kind of control the student experience. So you can control the student devices, but you don't control them just by sharing content. You control them by sharing interactive content, by sharing assessment questions, by sharing live web pages, by sharing videos, by sharing virtual field trips. And then you can collect data from them. And the data is not a quiz only. Of course, we have quizzes. Every teacher loves a quiz. But we can also have the students create content in their own device, like drawing, like taking pictures, really leveraging the power of what these amazing new, very affordable technologies allow us to do.
Felipe would start testing this product with teachers and students. He called it Near Education. Essentially, Felipe would come to school as a guest presenter, armed with a case of iPod Touch devices. To demonstrate how Nearpod worked for teachers, he'd actually teach the lesson to students.
My first experience with Nearpod was when I had a guest speaker come to one of my classes. And he had the students answer questions. He could see their answers. He could get a poll for, 50% of the kids got this and 20% got this. And it was amazing to see what this Nearpod product did. So I contacted the people at Nearpod, and they took the PowerPoints that I was already using in class and made them interactive.
That audio was from a 2011 video documenting a pilot program between Nearpod and Mountain Valley High School in Utah. This would be one of several different pilot programs started by Felipe during this time.
So at the beginning, when I was prototyping Nearpod in Florida, I used to go, well, not in Florida, in Utah as well. I used to go to schools with a case and go into a classroom and talk to the teacher and help them deliver a classroom with what was Nearpod, this new technology. And we sat down and we reviewed how things worked, and I got their input.
The Nearpod, I think, is amazing because it gives you results quickly. That's how we embrace the technology and not fear it. And if we embrace it, it's going to make, I think, world of a difference with this new generation.
The reaction of this experiment to bring Nearpod into the classroom was overwhelmingly positive. This clip from 2012 captures several different teacher testimonials.
Nearpod has been a reinvigoration for me as a teacher.
I love the way that the teacher controls the pace. Like, I decide when they go to the next page, and it's not an individual activity.
And because of this positive feedback and just an overall good feeling, Felipe was certain that Nearpod had the potential to be something big. After one of these classroom demonstrations, Felipe was excited to share this with his coworkers at Panarea Digital. In his native Spanish language, he told them, "Hay algo aquí," that translates to, "There's something here." He was sold that Nearpod wasn't just another software that they could design, but that it could be its own business. Felipe, Guido, and Emiliano Abramazon, a friend and business partner also from Argentina, stopped all their other projects at Panarea Digital to focus on this new technology. But to get Nearpod in classrooms around the world, they needed outside funding. Or did they?